today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 signs that you might be with the wrong man. I'm Michelle Marchant Johnson with Love Life Coaching, and I'm here to help you be that woman of high value who meets and attracts your high quality man. Now, this idea came to me because earlier this week I had an interesting conversation with a woman who was sharing with me the story of her and her ex and some of the reasons that the relationship didn't work out. And some of these things really came down to incompatibilities in terms of values and what they really wanted in life and some of the things that were most important to them. And so this is a little bit interesting because it wasn't like there was any really big glaring red flag right from the beginning, such as abuse or something that would really stand out as like, this is just completely unacceptable. These were a little bit more subtle. And so it got me thinking about this and thinking about some of the things that I hear most frequently when I speak to women in terms of ways that they came to understand or know that they were with the wrong man. So the first one is a big one for me, and that is you feel like you're doing the heavy lifting or most of the work to kind of keep the communication going or the relationship going, because I believe that a woman is of high value is going to be cognizant of the energetic exchange that's going on in a relationship. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't give, but it does mean that especially in the early stages of a relationship, you want to be aware of how much you're giving, how much energy, time, attention, focus that you're giving to a man and a relationship in comparison to how he's showing up. Because as you've probably often heard, you want to maintain your value and you don't want to be undervalued because you're overgiving too much, too fast, too soon. And I even think that makes a certain amount of laziness, or it encourages a certain amount of laziness in some men, and we don't want lazy daters on our hands. So if you feel like you're doing all the heavy lifting and doing most of the work to keep the communication going, the dates going, the relationship going, etc., then it might be time to step back and really take a look at what's going on there and put this one on pause. Because as a woman of high value, you deserve to be with someone who is there and willing and able to partner with you and to be there for you. Okay, the second one I thought of is what really brought this into focus was this conversation is you don't want the same things in life. So this will come up in the course of conversations, sometimes in early dating. Maybe you're looking for a long-term committed partnership relationship. Maybe he just got divorced or just got out of a relationship and he wants some time, or he wants to date for fun. Or maybe he's just separated, heaven forbid. I don't recommend you date those guys because they're just not in a situation where they're fully available and ready to be in a relationship for you. So if you want a long-term committed relationship or marriage, and a man specifically saying that that's not what he wants, I encourage you to believe them. Now, there are people that disagree with me on this, but I believe that you want to take a man at face value on this, because I have spoken to many women over the years who have ended up in situations of heartbreak and invested years of their life into a relationship or a man that never turned out the way that she hoped. In other words, he never was ready to commit to her in the way that she had hoped. So I just feel like it's really important to pay attention to what a man says, because most men are actually willing to share things with you and can be quite literal. And what often happens, though, is a woman wants to hear something else or believes that she can change his mind, and that usually is a recipe for heartache over the long run. So also, if you have a different vision in terms of where you're going in your life or what you want in your life or some of your values, such as you want to travel a lot and he doesn't, or vice versa, that can be a source of ongoing conflict. So it's good to learn things about each other in the early stages to see if you just kind of are heading in the same direction. This doesn't mean that you have to have everything in common. In fact, a certain amount of differences can make things interesting. But in terms of your values and the direction you're heading in life, and in terms of what you want in a relationship, this can be really important. Okay, the third thing I thought about is that if you don't feel like you can be comfortable and be yourself around a man, if you feel like you have to kind of be pretzeling into who you think he wants you to be, or if you feel like you have to hide or augment or change or pretend, in terms of who you're showing up as, in order to please this man, or because that's what you think that he expects or needs or wants from you in order to like you or love you. This again is a recipe for unhappiness and disaster, because over the long run, you're not going to want or be able to really maintain this facade. And at the end of the day, we all really want to be loved for who we actually are. So unless you can be yourself and be relaxed and be authentic in terms of being able to show the real you around someone, you're probably with the wrong person. If that doesn't feel safe to you, or if you feel like you have to pretend that things are different than what they really are, that is typically not a recipe for a long-term happy relationship. Okay, the next one that I thought of was you feel uncertain or insecure. And this can happen either when you're together or when you're apart. So sometimes if you're with the wrong man, even when you're with him, you might feel insecure, or you might really doubt where he's coming from, or you just might feel kind of uncomfortable. Again, like you're not quite able to relax and feel like he's got your back. I can remember once dating a man, and I can remember that I always sort of felt like he didn't quite have my back, like he wasn't quite there for me. I never quite really knew where I stood with him, even though a lot of the things he said and did seemed to indicate that I was an important person in his life. And I remember once we were out on a date and we had gone to see a play, and we were in the foyer of the theater, and one of his friends was actually in this play. And I actually knew this friend casually as well. But when he saw his friend, he ran ahead of me to go talk to his friend, and he just kind of left me there in the dust. And it's not like he was acting like he didn't really want his friend to know that he was with me. There was something really weird going on energetically, and I just felt like I needed to hang back, and he never invited me up to talk to his friend or to say hi to his friend. And because I felt this weird energy going on, I just hung back. And it was just kind of one of those examples where it just didn't feel like things were quite right. And so I found myself feeling sometimes insecure when I was with him, and sometimes uncertain about how he felt about me, not only when I was with him, but when I was not with him. And so I did a whole video on paying attention to how you feel with a man, and also paying attention to how you feel when you're not with a man. And both of these things can be relevant. So that's another sign you might be with the wrong guy, if you're always kind of feeling insecure and uncertain. And this isn't because of I'm saying this assuming this isn't because of our own insecurities and phobias, but that there's actually something kind of off, and the energy of the relationship is just not quite in sync. The next one is there's conflict, drama, struggle, disconnect in the relationship. If a relationship is a constant struggle, or there's a lot of drama, which can actually be a little bit addictive sometimes, this is a sign that it's probably not the right pairing of people, that you're probably not with the right man. Because a relationship does require attention, and it does require nurturing, and it does require effort, but it shouldn't be so hard or so much drama all the time, or a struggle or a push me, pull me kind of feeling, or one person manipulating or trying to manipulate the other person, or someone being way more into to one person than the other person is in return. Those kinds of things may be indicators that you're in the wrong relationship. Another one is you find yourself feeling guilty, sad, lonely, or less confident after being around this person. And there are some relationships where you can actually feel good with the person, or you can feel pretty good with the person, or you can feel excited to be with them. It's kind of that drama thing. But then when you're not with them, you're lonely, you're sad, you feel like your confidence is slipping. Kind of ties back into that one where you feel uncertain or insecure sometimes. And this often is a sign that you're not with the right person. Number 7 is you find yourself questioning whether you want to continue. That's one thing that can happen. Or the flip side of this is you try to convince yourself that you do want to stay with this person, or if you want to continue the relationship. So if you find yourself questioning whether you want to continue the relationship, or you find yourself mentally trying to talk yourself into it, and that's something that's happening repeatedly, maybe because you've got a lot invested, or maybe because he's almost a fit, or maybe because there's attraction. If you find yourself kind of like mentally trying to talk yourself into it, or if you find yourself questioning all the time whether or not you're with the right person, those are both indicators and kind of the flip side of the same coin that you might be with the wrong man. So just a really quick review. 7 signs that you're likely with the wrong man. You feel like you're doing the heavy lifting or most of the work to keep things going. That's number 1. You don't want the same things in life, love, or your vision for life is not in sync. Number 3 is you don't feel like you can really be yourself. You feel like you have to pretzel yourself, hide, augment, change, or pretend to be something other than you are. Number 4, you feel uncertain or insecure when you're together or when you're apart. Number 5, there's conflict, disconnect, struggle, or drama. Number 6, you find yourself feeling guilty, sad, lonely, or less confident after being with this person. Number 7, you find yourself questioning whether you want to continue the relationship or trying to convince yourself that you do. So those are 7 signs you may be with the wrong man. A good, healthy relationship does require effort, attention, and focus because it's a living thing. It's like a plant. It requires sunlight, warmth, water in order to continue to grow. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts below. Let me know any other ideas you think I've missed. Again, this is not a comprehensive list, and it's not even some of the really big red flags, but I thought these were worth mentioning. And also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm sending you love, blessings, and wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.